Robert Greene wrote that the greatest mistake a man can make is to show his hunger before the feast is served. Schopenhauer took it further. He said that wanting something openly is the surest way to push it away. This isn't dating advice. This is human psychology stripped to its rawest form. Here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Most men lose before they even open their mouths. They lose in their energy, their eyes, the way they lean forward just a little too much. When you want something badly, your entire body broadcasts it. Your voice changes, your posture shifts, and women detect this instantly. Not because they're judging you, but because evolution built them to read a man's frame in seconds. This is why good men get rejected. This is why nice men hear, "I just want to be friends." The problem was never your looks, your words, or your bank account. The problem was your frame. Greene called it the law of reversal. The more you pursue, the more you push away. The more you withdraw, the more you attract. Society told you to express your feelings and announce your intentions. But Greene understood something deeper. Honesty is not the same as exposure. The most powerful communicators in history never showed their cards early. They created mystery. They created space. They created what Schopenhauer called the vacuum of desire. There are 5 laws that change everything. The first is controlled presence. You must be close enough to create opportunity, but seem unattached to any outcome. Close in body, distant in need. The man who enters a room without scanning for targets, who moves with purpose, who leaves a conversation first. That man creates a question in her mind. Who is this man who doesn't cling? That question is the seed of attraction. But this only works when it's real. You cannot fake completeness. You must build it through goals, through purpose, through a life that exists whether she's there or not. The second is the architecture of tension. Schopenhauer observed that satisfaction kills desire. The moment you get what you want, you stop wanting it. This is why most men fail. They rush toward resolution and kill the very tension that creates attraction. Tension operates on 3 levels. Physical through calibrated contact, verbal through implication rather than declaration, and psychological through depth and mystery. When she wonders about you, even when you're not there, that's where attraction becomes obsession. The third is the selection frame. Every woman knows what it feels like to be wanted. Wanting is cheap. Being chosen is something else entirely. When a man wants a woman, he sees her surface. When a man chooses a woman, he sees her depth. Jung called it the need for significance. We don't just want to exist, we want to matter. When you notice what others miss, when you engage fully with what genuinely interests you and respond ordinarily to what doesn't, that contrast communicates that your attention is valuable. That feeling of being truly seen is more seductive than any technique. The fourth is the invitation method. When you ask directly, you yank her into evaluation mode. An evaluation mode almost always says no. An invitation is different. A request says, "Give me what I want." An invitation says, "Here is a door. If you want to walk through it." Create proximity without pressure. Use conditional language, move toward her but pause before arrival. Create the moment of anticipation without completing it. When she starts closing the gap herself, it's because you created a vacuum she wanted to fill, not because you pushed. The fifth is the transfer of desire. Freud discovered that the unconscious mind cannot easily distinguish between thoughts it created and thoughts it received. Desire can be transferred without words, without requests, without ever stating what you want directly. Speak in images. Describe sensory experiences. Paint scenes that evoke feeling without naming what they lead to. Her imagination takes over. And imagination is more powerful than reality because in imagination, there are no consequences. When she plants the thought in her own mind, you merely provided the seeds. When all 5 laws align, rejection becomes nearly impossible. Not because you manipulated anyone, but because you understood human nature deeply enough to work with it. Controlled presence creates initial curiosity. Tension transforms that curiosity into fascination. The selection frame creates emotional investment. The invitation method gives her ownership of the escalation. And the transfer of desire makes intimacy feel like her idea entirely. Here is the final shift that makes everything click. Stop trying to get something from women. Start becoming someone women are drawn to. The getting frame makes you a taker, and takers repel. The becoming frame makes you magnetic. Not because you learned tricks, but because you actually transformed. When your worth is internal, rejection loses its sting. When desperation disappears, the laws work automatically. Attraction is not something you do. It is something you become.